So we've gone through and we did a presentation. We told them about our great products, and we first of all, we started with the cold call, made the appointment. They made the appointment, we went there, we sat down, we talked to them, and went through and qualified them. We made sure we knew what their Jack of Spades was. We made sure we knew what product was best. We then led them through our conversation, through our presentation, to that decision by asking the right questions to lead them to the thing we decided. Okay? So now we've got past that. We've showed them the map. We've showed them, all this stuff. And we start asking a series of closing questions. Okay? We've talked about the digital. We talked about the size, all this kind of stuff. So now we're going to come in. And after going through the iPad presentation, you're ready to start closing. Now, I told you yesterday, objections are what?
You're not giving enough information.
The request for more information. Right. I told you if you did a good presentation, you're not going to get a lot of objections. Correct? So you're ready to start this closing process. The iPad presentation that I just showed you gives the customer an overview of who, what, and how Save-On can help them grow their business. Because of the qualification, you know what type of product's best for them. To get them involved in a full page in a territory when their budget is a quarter page in a zone will only cause you both pain. So now we've gotten to the printed map. It's important to show the client, and you have to have a good understanding of your territories. So Zone 21, it goes from Adams Road to DeQuinder, from 14 Mile to 21 Mile. It includes Troy, Rochester, 48084, 48083, and I'm going to explain exactly what that zone. You see, you're here on the border of it. The one next to it is Birmingham, and it starts from Square Lake. It goes, and I'm going to explain. I don't know, I'm using Detroit, obviously, because that's where I live. But I explain it in that type of detail. Okay? And then you start with, remember, we want to get a bunch of little yeses to get them to the final one. So when showing them the map, you point out the client's location, indicate all the roads that outline that territory, the number of homes, the zip codes included. Be sure to describe the zones around their location, but only after you've determined whether or not they can afford to buy more than one zone. That's why it's critical. You don't want to start going, and what happens if they're on the border? So if I think they could buy two, I could say I explain zone 1 and zone 3, and they're right next to each other, and they can get both of them. However, if I don't think they can afford both and they're right on the border, what some of our customers do that find themselves like you, where they're on the border of two zones, is they'll do zone 1 one month and zone 3 the next month. So I'm talking it different. See what I'm saying? That's why it's so critical to know that. You don't want to try to get them happily involved with both, and they don't have the money to do it. Okay, so you tell them, hey, other people have done this with great success. You should do it too, right? So I know we're just talking about this, but if you were to decide to advertise with Save-On, which zones, territories, whatever you've described, would best suit your business needs, would work for you? Which ones would you like? Any simple question like that. Or if they had talked a little bit about it as you showed them, you could do, I know when we talked about, it was zone 2 and zone 3 that you wanted, or just zone 2? Alternate choice, either one, meaning they're going ahead. Oh, it was zone 2 I wanted. I already knew that, but I made the, So, and that's how you get little minor agreements all the way through your closing sequence. So this just gives you some of the explanation that you should read through. As I mentioned earlier, Save-On mails to 1 million homes and apartments in the Chicago area. Each of the colors represent 25,000 homes. You can select any combination depending on your business needs. This is a huge benefit of direct mail. Not only can you target your message to the consumers or customers you feel are most likely to buy, but reach 98% of that market. Newspapers reach only 20 to 25. So you're missing 75% of you people, the people you think should be your clients. According to the U.S. Department of Commerce, 80% of your business comes from a 3-mile radius, 95 from a 5-mile radius, depending on the type of business you are, of course. So your business is located right here. You pointed out, or you have a little sticker there. You have your mark on there, and which of the zones, and I showed you how to do that. So that's the first question. If you're going to do something with this, what zones do you feel are best for you? Okay? So here you want to explain Save On is mailed every month. So we're ready when you're ready. We close about 4 to 5 weeks prior to the in-home date, so we have to have our artwork done by then. And then you would say, you mentioned earlier, because that was one of the qualifying questions, that June is a good month for you. That happens to be the month we're working on. And I know, and when we talked before, you said you advertise in June, August, September, October, November, March, April, May. Those are the months that you typically do stuff in, right? So I know we're just talking about them, but which of those months do you think you'd want to do with Save if you were to do something? Okay, so the next small closing segment is the months. So we got the map, the areas, now the months, all right? Is we offer different size ads, quarter page, half page, full page. Because of our convenient magazine size, even our half or quarter page easily seen, don't you agree? And that would be for a person that needs to either get a half or a quarter. I don't want them to go towards the full. Otherwise, I would just ask them, I'd show them the 3 different sizes and say to them again, which size do you feel would best fit your business needs? All right? And they're going to pick an area, a size. So now we know what zones they want to run in, what size they want to do, what months they want to do. So what's the next obvious thing? The total investment. Okay? So what you would do is by this time you should know the ad type, size, and number of homes. Go straight to that amount on the rate card. So you'd pull the rate card out. You said you wanted to do a quarter page and 50,000 homes. We're going to do 6 times a year. The total investment each month would be $250, $395, whatever that amount is. And you ask a closing question. Does that fit into your budget, Suzanne? Okay. Well, you already know it does because you qualified them. Okay. But that's the closing question. Or, what do you think? Simple as that. Or, would you be able to get the artwork after I showed them? I can go into an assumptive close and say, would you be prepared to put the artwork together today, or would you want me to come back at a later time to put that together?
Probably at a later time.
Okay, so let me make note of that, and I can start writing up the agreement. Now, Doug was telling me yesterday that he had gone out with Paula. Was it Paula or Karen? Paula. And she had made a really good presentation, and the guy was all done, and he said, well, why don't you call me next Tuesday and we'll get this together. I think we're going to do this. But he didn't want to commit to the paperwork, right? Is that a true story?
Right.
So Doug told me, he said to the guy, he said, well, tell me 3 things you liked about our program. Well, I like the book. It looks really good, and the price seems good, and the areas, or the time of the month, yeah, I like those. Well, is there anything you would change, or one thing you don't like? No, not really. So he said, well, why don't we take care of the paperwork today, and then we can get you started right away, online anyway, and we'll take care of the artwork next Tuesday. Would that be fair? And the guy goes, I guess, why not? You know, it's about asking for the order. The problem is you get to that point and you've done all this work and then you don't say, hey, come on, let's do this. Is there any reason why, and that's another question you could ask, can you see any reason why you would not want to go ahead with this? If you've done a good presentation and you've handled all their issues, they're going to say, you know, probably not. Now, If you're dealing with drivers especially, you know, they're gonna, yeah, fine, just put it together and send me this stuff. Send me a copy, I'll sign it. And that's okay, because they don't want to sit while you fill out that form. Yeah, this is what I want, put it together and send me a thing on it, you know? And rarely will they back out of it. After they made their decision up, they're good to go. Analyticals, you never want to do that with. You want to sign it in blood at that time. That's why it's important to know who you're dealing with. You know, like me, that sounds good. Put that thing together, send me over in a contract. That's what I'll say, okay? I would never use the word contract. I'd say agreement or paperwork, but. Some of the things that you need for closing are, it'd be nice to have testimonial letters from your, customers that are doing well. Why salespeople don't do this anymore is absolutely, I don't get it. I always had a whole testimonial book filled.
Do you have a print?
Now, this is too long, I don't have them. Did I ask them to write them? Hell no. What I asked them for is a piece of their letterhead, and I talked to them. I wrote what I think they said, and I let them sign it. I don't have time. Remember, I'm a driver. I don't have time to help you. I'm self-centered, don't you know that? Now, Paula would take all day and write you a beautiful letter, and she'd even put perfume on it for you. It's important for you to have sample ads of that category. Every person wants to see, every one of the categories want to see a competitor or a friend or another business in the same industry being successful in your product. Always find samples of that. If it's a unique type of business, put it out on Magazine Manager or email the rest of the staff. Have you ever had, one just went, a veterinarian, wasn't it? And they ended up selling it. I'm sorry, they ended up getting them happily involved. We don't sell. Have a page of save on competitors, mail dates, in case the customer needs to determine if we mail at the same time. I've been selling Safe for the Home. Oh, I don't have my stuff, I left it. But I have an envelope I always carry with me, or a manila folder of everybody I'm competing with in that industry, their mail dates, their total media kit with me at all times. If I'm you, I'd have Clippers Magazine, her media kit with me. I would have Valpax with me. And we actually, every year, we produce our competitor calendar, so you know when everybody mails at what time, you know? So if a guy's already mailing with Valpak and he's happy with it, he doesn't want to make a change, you got to be able to say, well, they're mailing on the 15th of the month, and we're on the 1st, so we're 2 weeks off. And doesn't most of your redemption come in the first 2 weeks? This way you'll be able to extend your redemption for a whole month period. And you know, 50% of the people that run with this also run Valpak.